What's happening, people, and welcome to the Rambling Dad Podcast, episode 10. And today I'm joined by my very special guest, Jason Hartley. What's happening, dude?
Hey, Dad. How you doing?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. I don't know if you guys can tell, but, my voice is a little weird today, but feeling all right otherwise.
Sounding husky. That's how it goes. So you're in London just now?
Just outside of it, just below it in a place called Surrey. So,
all right, okay, yeah, I know Surrey. Well, I know of it. I've never been to it. So what have you been up to recently, man? You were at Cage Warriors over the weekend?
Yeah, I went and watched that card, went out with a bunch of friends. I've been trying to get some of the On Point boys to go with me to one of the shows, and I finally just befriended enough people in Ireland
to go
be able to go and not just sit there alone with a beer, just like, oh, that was a great fight.
There were some good fights at the weekend as well. The Irish fighters really fucking turned up from what I've seen. I never caught any of the card, but from what I've seen, you guys posted on Twitter and everything, so it looked like it was good. So July 22nd, you're going to be there again?
Oh, yeah. You bet, dude. 100%.
Awesome. Oh, I can't wait, dude. So obviously, just speaking on that, so me and you met in London for the first time. I'd seen you on Twitter before. I've obviously seen MMA on Point, Twitter, YouTube, all the rest of it. And the reason I wanted to talk to you today, man, is because I just want to find out, so we had some good chats after the fights and stuff. Not going to lie, I was drunk, bro, so I can barely remember most of the things that we've spoken about. And I honestly really fucking got on with you and Mac as well. So just wanted you to get on, wanted to catch back up with you, find out a bit more about you, but I'll actually remember it this time, you know what I mean? And actually just talk a bit about MMA on Point, because personally, like I say, I've seen you on YouTube and I've seen you on Twitter. I don't know much about you, and I don't know many people that do, you know what I mean? So it'd be good to get a little bit of who are MMA on Point. You know, you've probably had these conversations with people before, man, but for me personally, I'd love to know this stuff. So, yeah, so where are you from originally? Because I remember we spoke about that briefly in London.
Yeah, so I'm from a place just outside of Nashville in Tennessee called Clarksville. It's about 45 minutes north of there. But usually I just say Nashville because people know where that is.
Nashville, Tennessee. Yeah, man, everybody knows Nashville. So what's it like out there, bro? I've never been to America.
Oh, man, yeah, it's totally different. I feel like everywhere you drive through here, there's like hedges that block people's driveways off. Or even when you're on, the motorway, things are kind of blocked off and really closed in. People are very protective of their space, and for good reason. It makes a ton of sense. But things are very wide open there because, obviously it is a big country and it's a fairly big state.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's like, I had cows living next to where I was.
Right, well,
in Tennessee, so.
Come up to Scotland, dude, and there's cows in every field next to almost every fucking house. You know what I mean? It's quite similar here. I mean, I can relate to that in a way because my missus is originally from Canada, so I've been over to Canada a couple of times, and she's from Winnipeg, Manitoba, so that's known as like the prairies. And there's like an old joke that they told me when I went over there, and somebody said in the prairies when your dog runs away, it's so flat out there you can still see the fucker running away 3 days later. But that was the feeling. Everything, like you say, open. Like, so as you're driving around, you're going down the highway or whatever, everything was like open, and all the houses were dead far apart. Not like what it is in the UK, you know what I mean? We're all bunched in together, all quite boxed. You know what I mean? A lot of terrace road houses and things, like semi-detached as well, obviously. But you know what I mean? A lot of them are terrace when you go around most of the towns or the cities in the UK. But now, wicked. So where did you start with all of this? Like, I know we spoke about this as well, man, but like I say, it's completely gone out of my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the easiest point to kind of start from is, when I went to university, I got a quote unquote big boy job, hated that job, quit, and it was a creative role. And I just kind of decided at that point that whatever I was going to do in the creative industry, I needed to really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, I'd gotten into this YouTube channel called What Culture that's based in Newcastle.
Right, okay.
And while working there, that got me connected with my business partner, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
We tried to pitch the idea of doing MMA because they're doing like pro wrestling and stuff like that. And it was kind of catching me up on my nostalgia of like, Stone Cold and The Undertaker, all that fun stuff.
12-year-old Jason shining back through.
Yeah. Yeah, it was all that. And we tried to pitch the idea to them. They hadn't really watched MMA a whole lot, so they had no idea if we knew what we were talking about. And so we were like, screw it. if they're not going to go with it, we will. And so in August of 2017, that was when we pressed the button on it and went live. Most Evil Fighters was the first video.
Right.
Second video, so that was Tom's video. My first video was, why isn't Demetrius Johnson popular? And
that's a fucking shout, by the way. That man does not get enough credit for what he deserves. Like, that's 100% a shout. Sorry, go on. Just when you threw that in there, I had to jump in, but continue.
And he's fighting this weekend, which might even be his last fight. So we'll see. But within a month we hit 10,000 subscribers, and by the end of the year we'd hit 50,000. And within a year we were at 100K. We might have been at 150K, but it was just something that was intended to be fun. Never thought we'd be where we are now. And so it's a dream to be here. I've always wanted to live in the UK, and got a great team around us. So really enjoyed it.
What year was that you started doing it?
2017.
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry. When you said 17, I thought you meant like the day. Like, sorry. Cool. So, right. So you've been doing this for 6 years?
Yeah. Getting close to 6 years now.
Right,
yeah.
Okay. And it literally just started off just a hobby, like a passion project, and just one of the questions was going to be, how did you meet Tom? Because obviously you coming from America, Tom's English, is he? And then obviously you had friends from Newcastle and stuff, like you say. So, man, that's awesome.
Yeah. That's how we ended up in this side of the country as well, because he lives on this side, and just made sense to link up. And,
So you went to university over here?
I went to university in Tennessee.
Right. Okay. Sorry. And then you came over here. Right. Cool. And then you just never looked back.
Yeah, I mean, it was a long process because, we were already a company for, 2017 is when we started. I was still, so when I did the stuff in Newcastle, I was a freelancer living in America. And so it did not become a thing where I was able to move here until 2021. So we were almost a business for about 4 years. Fun fact, Tom and I hadn't even met until 2018, so we were almost a business for a year before I actually met him. We kind of switched months. He came over in April of that year, and then I came back and visited him in May of that year.
So how did you find that, like building that relationship and like trying to build a business together and firing ideas between each other and stuff? How did that go? Obviously not meeting for over a year. And
I think we had a simple kind of like unwritten contracts for a while where it was just like, all right, I'll do one video this week. You'll do one video this week.
Right, okay, yeah.
And it was very, very, very simple. And then there was a point where actually Tom wanted to approach Tommy Told, which was one of the best decisions, obviously we've ever made as a company. And that happened right around the same time in 2018. And it was just as simple as that. And at some point we were just like, let's just do this 50-50 because what we're doing really, really works. And we would just communicate through like Facebook Messenger. We don't use WhatsApp in the States. So there was no similar messaging system. And Facebook Messenger worked. God bless Facebook. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but hey, they got one thing going.
It got there. That's the thing. Even I think 2017 WhatsApp wasn't even that wildly popular either, was it? It's probably just popped off over the last few years as well. So so obviously you said you went to uni and you done like your content stuff in there. So like what started it all for you then? Like when you were younger, what kind of inspired you to get into that? Because one thing for me personally, mate, is when I left school, I did not know what I wanted to do. Did not. Like the only thing I've ever known I've wanted to do was be a dad, and I've achieved that now, and it's honestly the best thing on the planet. But when I left school, educational wise, didn't know what I wanted to do. And actually, I'll just take a little tangent here. So I was listening to the Believe You Me podcast yesterday, and they had Tom Aspinall on, and they started talking about. I'm from the northwest of England as well, which is the same as Michael Bisping and Tom Aspinall. I'm probably about 20 minutes away from both of their hometowns originally. And one thing they talk about was the mentality of the people around there, and it honestly, like, really, like, not hit a nerve, but you know what I mean. Resonated with me a little bit is everything's quite negative and everything's quite like a put down. It's like, oh, you're never going to do that, you're never going to do this, and you're never going to be able to do that, and blah blah. So what was like the inspiration for you to, this is what I'm going to do and I'm going to go and smash it? Like, because a lot of your own, even with this podcast now, I can sit and say to myself, "Oh, why are you doing this? Nobody's listening." Yeah, I mean, everybody has their anxieties and things about it. Yeah, I mean, so what made you pursue that into the content creation world? What was the thing that triggered your interest?
Yeah, so when I was 13 years old, I walked into my living room and my dad had bought me a drum set for my birthday. Art has pretty much always been a part of that. And, for like 2 years before that, I only had like a toy drum kit to prove it to my parents that I was really serious about wanting to play. And so for years and years and years, that was my big thing. I stopped playing sports. I stopped doing everything else. And music was my big drive. And there was a band right around 2021 where we thought we might make it. And then, one day our singer quit. And that was just kind of the end of that.
Finishes off.
Yeah, and so I actually went to university late.
Okay.
I didn't go until I was 25. All the kind of creative stuff that I had done had somehow led me from one place to another. So for music, I had friends that worked at a design print shop. They did Photoshop there. So I was learning Photoshop on the job, and a little bit of Illustrator, things like that. And then when I went to university, which was kind of after that interstitial period between being a musician and going to university, when I finally did go, I had all this experience working in these programs, and people were like, "Can you make flyers for our on-campus events?" I was like, "Yeah, totally." And so I started working for an office on campus, and they were like, "Can you do video?" I was like, "Well, I used to edit tour videos when I was, just in, my band and stuff like that." So I was not good at it, but I loved it. I thought it was really fun.
What was the band's name?
It was called My Friend the Ghost.
My Friend the Ghost. And is there any of the tunes still out there? Can we find them?
Oh man, probably not. I could link you personally to a Google
send me some of that. I'd love to listen to some of that. So what type of drum? I think we did discuss this in London. When you mentioned about the drum kit, it did ring a bell.
Yeah, it's like a pop punk. If you could imagine Paramore with a guy singer, it's like that kind of genre.
Blink-182, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, wicked.
Yeah.
Yeah, wicked. So, cool. So you started off going into the musician stuff. You getting into it. You started going along into, like you say, learning on the job, which is always great experience. One thing to find is always just jump into the deep end. That's what I always say with people. Personally as well, I don't know about you, how you learn, but one thing that I've learned over the years of how I learn is by doing. If you get me to sit down and just read something, it's never going to sink in. But if you go, right, this is how you do it, and show me once, boom, I'll do it straight away. And then the more and more I do it, the more and more I'll pick up. Obviously, like OBS, so shout out to you on that one, so I kind of like toyed with the idea of doing a bit of media stuff myself last year. I was speaking with Lewis from Combat Sports. He kind of set me up with all the stuff, but everything that was going on in life, just had my daughter, I was just busy with work things, I was never getting the time to do it. And also I found that, like, content creation, man, you've got to be quick on this stuff. Like, some of this news and some of the things that come out for you to grab it and make a piece of it is going that quick. You know what I mean? It's boom, boom, boom. How do you stay on top of it? How do you stay on top of the trends and the content? And what type of thing is it that you typically look for? Because obviously you don't just want to grab everything and post everything out there. You want to grab the stuff that's going to bring in the people and what people are really wanting to look at or listen to. So
yeah, I guess in terms of our video content, we've always just kind of made things that interest us. And obviously when there is a big event, because we are so steeped in the culture, we tend to kind of have a good sense of what's going to do well. And then on the social media side, it is being a lot more tapped in and watching a lot more interviews and keeping up with things and trying to make sure we get, good quotes and things like that out there. But a lot of that I do just credit to the genius of our graphic designer / social media manager, and his name is Oven. I don't know where he comes up with some of these ideas. They're just really, really good. Yeah. He tends to tie them in with events and things like that. But sometimes it'll be like last week, he just made a graphic that had 3 glasses partially filled and then one of them totally empty. And he was like, which fighter is this? And grappling was the one that was empty. And then maybe striking was the most full. And in the middle was, I don't know, judo. I don't know. I can't remember what he put it up.
So he's put that out, and what I've seen a lot on Twitter recently as well is people kind of adapting that, and they're putting what would you change or something, and they're putting fighter stats, but it's very much the same idea. You know what I mean? Where he's gone with the glass half full type of thing. That's a cool bit of a creative piece there. So, and same with me, right? So obviously you said you do music and things. I can't remember if I told you in London. I play guitar myself. I've dabbled in a little bit of banjo. I play the ukulele, and I can do a little bit of harmonica, not too much. Just, you know, I mean, follow on to a couple of tunes, or if I'm recording something myself, I can just blitz a bit of the harp in there. But I find that most of the creative stuff that I come up with just comes to me. Like it's not like you're sitting. Well, I find when you are sitting trying to rattle your brain and trying to come out with this creative content, that you're actually probably just doing yourself no favors by doing this. You know what I mean? You're overthinking things, and you're trying to come out with the best stuff. So I always find that like creative content, just if somebody's got that creativity in them, I was speaking to Mac on the phone the other night, and we were saying the same thing as well. Like we were talking about like how content just pops into some people's heads. Like it just happens for some people. It's cool.
Yeah, music is really unique in that. So like the original theme for our channel was one that I wrote. I wrote the autopsy theme, if you guys are familiar with our post-fight content that Tommy hosts. I've written a bunch of stuff on the channel. I've written it for a few videos as well, like the GSP piece. I wrote the theme that went through the intro of that as well. But with music, I find it way more taxing, maybe because it's like such a self-expression that you're trying to capture in almost a metaphorical form, and some ways literal if you're doing lyrics. But when you're trying to record and get a sound that you really like, one thing I'm really big on is, would I listen to this? I feel like, and you could probably attest to this, a bunch of musicians, it's almost like they're just writing stuff and they're proud of it, regardless if they actually listen to that genre or not. They're like, oh, wow. But in reality, they would never put that on in their car.
Well, it's funny because you find that with a lot of musicians. So when I've spoken to them in the past, none of them would listen to their own stuff. You know what I mean? Like most of them listen to like 50 other different bands that, like you say, the genre doesn't even relate to what they're actually putting out there. It's mental how people can take the inspiration from different places and then put it into a different kind of creation. You know what I mean? So personally, I don't know where it came from. Folk and country. That's what I'm all about, the folk and country music. Really, man. One of my favourite guys to listen to is Woody Guthrie. He's a 1930s folk singer. Absolutely love Woody Guthrie. And his son Arlo as well is wicked too. But it was funny because my mum was a bit of a raver in the 90s so I was born in 91. And my mum used to like to go out most weekends with her friends, go to raves. She'd be out Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'd be at my nan's all weekend with my cousins. She'd come home, pick me up, and then that'd be that almost every weekend, if I'm honest with you. She loved going out. She was still in her 20s when she had me, so you can understand it as well. So I brought up and danced and rave music. And then by the time I got to like 12, 13, 14, I started getting into skateboarding and punk and rock and metal and all like classic rock and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And I don't know where it happened. All of a sudden, somewhere between the age of, because at like 16, 17, I went through a stage of just listening to nothing but Afro Man all the time. Like, I just had his discography on and I would just listen to Afro Man constantly. And then somewhere after that, folk music just clicked with me. And there's a British, an English folk musician that I've been following for about 10 years now. He's called Beans on Toast. You probably see me raving about beans on toast all the time. And it's not just because of the food, beans on toast. Which actually, as an American, living in the UK, tell me you've eaten it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's fine. Yeah, I like it.
Boom.
Yeah.
See the amount of shit that people give me on Twitter for beans on toast. And I'm just like, dude, I'm like, go and try it. It's fucking awesome. Like, honestly, it's a staple meal of the UK diet.
Solid.
Yeah, man. So, you like any folk music yourself?
I'm not super into it, but Woody Guthrie in particular, I had a university professor that was nuts about Woody Guthrie, and I swear he would somehow tie it into all of his lectures. It was crazy. But it very like early political stuff, because it was before. I mean, you used to have terrible contracts in the U.S. for workers and things that. And Woody Guthrie was one of the people on the front lines of that.
Yeah.
he probably changed literally America for the better.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I mean, he just is rambling around towards you. I mean, he would go around, we speak to everybody, and like you say, he was very liberal in a sense. I think, like the way he was walking around and speaking to people. But no, 100%. I'd love to have that lecturer at uni. Like, man, I would have got on with him. And like you say, he links everything to it, because Woody's got a song about everything. Even like you're now talking 93 years on or so, like his music can still be applied to today's politics and society. It's absolutely fucking insane. Not everybody's cup of tea, but when I've got the window down and I'm blasting it and I'm driving around in the car, I get some funny looks, but I don't care. I'm just singing, take me a ride in your car, and everyone's just looking at me, but man, who cares? Have a bit of fun with it. So, man, this has been awesome, but like, how all this created, man? I mean, you met some guy and you were already doing a bit of things like with him in a different workplace, then you both just took your idea and ran with it. That's incredible, dude. Like, so one of the things that I was talking to the missus about recently, she's like, how do these people do this? Like YouTube channels and all the rest of it. And I'm like, it's just commitment, dedication, and just, you know what I mean, doing this thing for 5 to 10 years and sticking to it and being consistent with it. And it's, honestly, man, well done to you and all your hard work. Like, you've just hit 1 million subscribers as well in YouTube. Fucking woo! Let's fucking go! You know what I mean? So absolutely buzzing for you on that one, dude. Obviously, we spoke on the phone last week, and you were saying it's a bit of a process to actually get the trophy for it. To be like, yeah, look at me, I've got 1 million subscribers in YouTube. So
yeah, still waiting on that. We've ordered it, and we're supposed to get shipping updates, and I've received nothing in like the last week and a half. So it's like,
send them
is
an
it
email.
coming,
Like,
guys?
do you know who the fuck I am? You better get my trophy to my house right now.
Damn it.
So what did you say? There was a bit of a process behind it where they just need to like spot check and just make sure that everything's legit and nothing's like, you've not created 500,000 bots on a computer or something to just follow you, pretty much, I imagine.
Yeah, so like I couldn't request it immediately. It's like you had to wait 10 days before you were able to request it. So I don't know. Yeah, if we did exactly like what you said, like use the bot and artificially inflated the numbers to get over the hump or something like that. And yeah, they finally let us do that, and it's been ordered. But yeah, now we're just waiting to receive it. So,
and so like, I probably told you this in London as well, but during COVID, I kind of started doing some streaming and stuff, putting gaming clips out on Instagram and a bunch of other things. And what I found was I was always just getting a bit like bogged down. I ended up being on like a hamster wheel of content, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and every day you're chasing something. So like, what do you guys do to like keep up with everything and just like stay on top of it? Do you have things that are like pre-made and just ready to post and you're kind of already ahead with the content, or is it something that you're actually just every day, whatever's, obviously things pop up, you know what I mean? So you can have your planning and prioritizing with your work, but then obviously you're going to have your in the moment things that are going to turn up too. So how do you guys go about managing that?
Yeah, so we have a bunch of content that's written ahead of time. So, you know, we have like a month's worth of content that's basically been written already ahead of time. But in terms of getting it edited, that's always the biggest bottleneck.
Yeah.
We'll get ahead for like a week once, and we'll already have stuff planned up for the entire next week. And then somebody will get sick, like me this past week. And we'll kind of get behind again, and then we're just catching up. So like today's video, we got one that will be going up at 6 p.m., obviously UK time, and it's being edited right now. It's not even done yet.
Right. Okay.
And so sometimes people remark like, oh, wow, that whatever that clip that you put in is super, super recent. Like that just happened. So every once in a while you'll get that. And then, yeah, we'll get caught up. So yeah, it's kind of wild. And I've been working on this piece about steroids in American sports, which isn't just about MMA. I'm going to kind of branch out on this video and talk about the larger impact of steroids and how we ended up with USADA as a result, type kind of thing.
Right. Okay.
And dude, I've been working on that one forever. So
is that a documentary style or
documentary style? Big
okay.
time. Yeah, big time. So
we're talking feature length or?
Man, at this point, it might be a 40-minute piece. I'm really hoping I won't have to edit something that long, and I can somehow condense it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't mind telling you. Luke Thomas is on it. Derek from More Plates, More Dates is on it.
Nice.
And a couple other folks are on it in interview style that had a chance to talk to them and pick their brain a little bit.
Nice, pretty decent. What's some of the biggest things that you've ever came across that have been a bit of like of a blocker, or I mean a hump in the road, anything along the lines of? There's probably been a few things, a spanner in the works anywhere, where you've just been like, oh shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, one of them is just the UFC themselves. So for basically anything else you can think of, fair use exists, and people don't really seem to understand fair use. So I can come at this from two perspectives. There's one, the UFC, and then there's one kind of like the old media. And I have a ton of respect for the old media, but sometimes they have a problem with us using their clips too. But like this stuff is like legally precedented in court. Like there's a big YouTuber named H3H3 who used Triller's footage. That was when I think Jake Paul fought Ben Askren. Right. And he watched the whole fight like 10 days later on his stream. And Triller tried to sue him. They did a copyright takedown, and H3H3 won in court. It legally was fair use. And this has happened over and over again. He actually has another case that he's won. So he's got two landmark fair use cases. There's been ones for something as small as someone literally just watching a video and saying, wow, at the end of it. And that's been legally protected in court. So, I mean, there are precedences for this all across the board. But the UFC, I mean, who's got the money to go to court with the UFC and say, all right, we're going to show this knockout. I understand there's some respect and decorum. Like, let's say this weekend Cejudo starches Aljo, or the opposite happens and Aljo does it to Cejudo. It's probably a dick move knowing that that's still pay-per-view to literally just put on your YouTube channel the next day. That would kill their pay-per-view replay buys. But, I mean, if you're posting something 2 years down the line, that's just a little snippet of a fight. I don't really get what the issue is.
100%, but like you say, even a week, man. Like, so I don't really see what the issue is with that. Yeah, I mean, you've had your money, you've had your pay-per-views, the people have bought their tickets, and it's all said and done. Yeah, I mean, the show's over. Like, that's mental. So you personally, have you faced anything like that, or?
Yeah, we've gotten copyright claims. We've never had a strike from the UFC because, as you know, for YouTube, if you get 3 strikes, you're done. And they do clear after a certain time, so it's not like they permanently stay there. And 5 years of being clean and not getting any strikes, you'll still, be almost out. But so that's the kind of thing that I would say is probably the biggest spanner in the works. 100% is that, and then. Sometimes we get it a bit from the old media folks that don't really understand new media, which, we see that a lot less, though. I mean, it's been a long time. The only people we've actually gotten strikes from are like old media types that just have no concept of what fair use is. But that's been like 3 or 4 years. So it's been a long time since we've received anything like that. Maybe people are starting to become more savvy to it, but I mean, for instance, like Vox, who owns MMA Fighting, they do a fuck ton of fair use on Vox, their literal channel. And they've given seminars about how to do fair use. Johnny Harris, their old host. So yeah, spanner in the works. Definitely like people's understanding of fair use and trying to work in that space. In MMA, it's a bit behind in terms of other industries. I mean, you can show an entire video game, the whole thing, and do a let's play, or you can do movie reviews. I mean, everybody does movie reviews. NBA, in terms of other American sports, you see tons of that. MLB, NFL, that stuff all has really, really thriving creator content channels. So.
Well, when you think about it, it's free promotion for them, isn't it, at the end of the day? I mean, it's like, think about you've got 1 million subscribers on YouTube. How many people are going to come to your channel and see that might not have seen it prior? Like, I just don't understand why that would be it's like a non-issue, really. Like you say, I can get it on the day. That's a bit out of order, but after the fact.
Well, what's really funny, too, is you'll see like a Fight Pass ad go on one of our videos. And I'm like, guys...
Who edited this?
I mean, you're literally paying for promotion when like so this week we got a big pay-per-view, so we'll be doing a fight breakdown of Henry Cejudo versus Aljo that Alex does, Bailey, and as everyone knows him.
Yeah.
He'll be doing a breakdown of that. And then we'll also have a full card breakdown with Max that'll go up on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't use UFC footage, and that's something that they're paying for to go in front of our channel. So it's like, guys, you don't have to pay for any of that. Like this literally is a video about your event. So it's strange, self-defeating is what it is, you know.
Yeah. The way the world works, the politics of it all, really, isn't it? So, we've mentioned the Henry Cejudo fight and Aljamain Sterling a couple of times now. So, I know obviously you'll do your own footage, so don't give me too much. But what you saying, bro? What you thinking? Where are we going with this?
I think I'm gonna lean Cejudo.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason why I would say he wouldn't win is because of the layoff, but his layoff isn't like other people's layoffs. Like, obviously, Dom Cruz, a guy he's beaten, came back after a ton of time and beat TJ Dillashaw in 2016.
Also,
the
he's
difference
been
with
coaching
him,
a lot of the highest fighters going whilst he's been off too, so it's not like he's sitting on his ass. You know what I mean?
Exactly that. Yeah, exactly that. He's been training literally with the best fighters on the planet the entire time. So I think it's kind of like, you know, people always wondered what it would be like if Dan Hardy came back or somebody like that became an excellent analyst.
Yeah.
And they really started to kind of get out of just like the training and that kind of side of it and being more on the analytical side.
Mm-hmm.
He's had that for the past couple of years to focus on in a big way. And nobody thought he was really going to be retired. Let's be real. Like,
I know.
He was calling out people the moment, like, I don't know. I think he was literally calling out people on Twitter the night he retired against Cruz, you know? So I don't think he's even really seriously thought about retirement. I think it's always been, all right, how do I come back for a bigger fight, a bigger payday? And
the King of Cringe is back. How I'm making this money. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So how do you think Aljo's going to play out with that one? So I'm the same as you, man. I think Cejudo's going to take it. I think his output on the feet, striking wise, he's just going to overwhelm Aljo a little bit. Like Aljo's down, and I couldn't believe this. So when I done my podcast, was it yesterday, day before? Just pre-fight podcast, going through all the stats and stuff like that. So I'm pretty fucking terrible at remembering these things. I'm terrible at remembering who fought who and when they fought them, etc. So I always like to go back through the website, just have a little look at stuff, just to keep myself right as well. As I'm going through it, it says that Aljamain's a kickboxer. And I'm sitting scratching my bean going, this man ain't a fucking kickboxer. Right, yeah, he throws some kicks so he can kind of control the distance with them a little bit, but it's always to set up a takedown. It's always to go and sit on somebody's back. I'm like, he's a fucking grappler or a wrestler from the looks of things. He's not really a kickboxer. So what do you think his game plan against Cejudo would be? Obviously, like we say, Cejudo's fast on his feet. He's in and he's out, he's in and he's out, and he's an Olympic fucking wrestler. Like, it's not going to be as easy as what Aljo's thinking to take him down. So,
yeah, well, Aljo is a Division III wrestler, so he didn't even get that far. I mean, not nearly as far as Cejudo, obviously being an Olympic gold medalist, which is, an order of magnitude higher on the scale.
Yeah.
But, we have seen guys where there is a pretty big height and reach advantage, like John Jones take out an Olympian in DC and be able to take him down. But the height and reach advantage is not nearly as great as it was between those two. I think it'll be a lot closer in terms of size. I think the power advantage tends to lean towards Cejudo as well.
Yeah.
So, I just think he has more of the tools.
Sorry, go on.
Oh, yeah, I was just saying, I think he has more of the tools. And so when it comes down to it, I think the biggest advantages that Aljo has are just going to be size related.
Yeah, nice. That's all I think he's going to do as well, is just try and tower over him, just get him up against the cage if he can with a takedown, and just, like he does, sit on people's back. Like, I don't really like either of the personalities. Aljo the Clown and the King of Cringe, man. Like, I can't be asked with either of them, to be honest with you, but you can't deny the fighting styles and you can't deny the skill set. Yeah, I mean, they're both up there for a reason. But I feel like on top of Cejudo's like skill set and all his experience that he's got in there, his mindset's different, man. Like, he's even been talking all week. I don't know if you've seen the clip where Aljo and them met each other and he was going up. And Aljo's like, yeah, man, I just want to come over and say this, come over and say that. And Cejudo's just looking him dead in the eye and he's going, I'm ready. I'm ready. He was like, "You ready? Because I'm fucking ready." You know, you can see it. He's not taking in anything else around him. He's just focused on what the job is in hand and what he needs to get done.
Yeah, there's also the like, you know, he's the king of cringe for a reason. There's just a bit of this like smiling behind it, like
Yeah.
are the fans liking this? Like, I just got to get this vibe of like without looking, you almost kind of have that vibe of him glancing up.
Make sure people are loving it. Inflate that ego. How it goes.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's like I was saying, I was a big fan of pro wrestling when I was a kid, and I'm not a huge fan of it now. But one of the kind of magic parts of it are making you question whether it was real or not.
Yeah.
And like making you feel like the beef actually, you know, like and there were some crazy things that happened when we were a kid too. Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, you know, that kind of thing. So it's like
it was great writing. I mean, great storytelling. It was just fantastic all the way through it.
Yeah, and they actually did hate each other as well. Like the crazy Montreal screw job. Anybody who knows about that will definitely know what I'm saying. But like, that's the kind of thing. Like, you shouldn't be worse at it than people that do this for a living. You know, like if you're going to go down that road, like I think some people are great at. Like Chael Sonnen was literally that guy could be a stand-up comedian. Like literally could be. Some people are just really, really outstanding at it, and some people not so much. I don't know. I don't get why you have to kind of put on the persona. It's like guys like Michael Chandler have gone out there and shown like you don't have to like talk shit and make up this crazy, ridiculous character. And I'll definitely say Chandler has this like PR side to him for sure.
Oh yeah, 100%. The Conor McGregor. Yeah, I mean, screaming his fucking head up. Like he's definitely got that. How do I promote this? How do I make this thing huge? And how do I bring in the crowd? And he can fucking do it. You know what I mean? He really can do it.
And I feel like he stays true to himself when he does it as well, even though there is maybe this PR side of him that's, you know, working to make sure he doesn't do anything crazy. It just shows that like you don't have to have this type of character to be popular, to get big fights. You can actually be yourself, and that's way more interesting. It's like and with Conor, people want to say that he's putting on an act, but I don't know if anybody can at this stage say anything other than that dude is fucking crazy. Like, maybe early on, maybe you could have thought it was just a character, but considering all the things he's done in and out of the cage, like he legit is just a crazy dude who does crazy shit. You know,
I never thought it was a character once with Conor. Like the thing, people obviously like UK, Ireland, this kind of area. And what you see with a lot of fighters is this self-belief and confidence. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with that. It's one thing that they actually genuinely need when they're going in there. Like I spoke about a little bit before, other people's negativity can kind of stop people going after whatever it is they want to achieve in life, your dreams, etc. and stuff like that. So you find with a lot of fighters that they have this absolute belief that they are the best of the best. You know what I mean? And you fucking need that going in there and fighting some of these people. Like to step into the octagon, you need to have that mentality. So I feel like with Conor in the upcoming, it was just that I'm the fucking best, but it was that cocky European UK Ireland kind of I'm a sarcastic fucker and I'm just going to tell you how it is and I'm going to manifest this shit. You know what I mean? Like I even tried explaining because my missus again like was talking about manifestation and stuff like that because I was speaking to her about a lot of fighters talk about how they manifest things, even like they think about what it feels like to step into the octagon, what it feels like for the crowd to boo them, what it feels like for the crowd to cheer them. Almost every single aspect, they think about it and manifest how they want that experience to be walking out. And he was a master at that. You know what I mean? And he was putting it out there, so it was happening. Yeah, it's one of those things, like, like a phenom, if you like, of the MMA world. It's not every so often you get somebody coming around like that. You know what I mean? But no, I genuinely don't. He wasn't a Colby Covington. He wasn't a king of cringe. Like he wasn't out there just putting on this persona. That's just genuinely him. I mean, he's gone, in my opinion, down a little bit over the last few years with his reckless behaviors, like the way that he treated things with Khabib and the stuff that he said about his dad. He probably shouldn't have been interviewed when he broke his leg, and the stuff that he was shouting about Dustin Poirier and his wife, and I mean, it was a nasty, horrible side to see of the person. But at the same time, we're all human, and you can understand where he's coming from in that moment as well. Yeah, I mean, but no.
What's inhuman about all that too, though, is like we saw what happened when Chris Weidman and Anderson Silva broke their legs, and they were like screaming in agony, and Conor's just fucking pissed.
Like angry as fuck.
What is going on here?
Straight up looking for somebody to blame and fucking start a fight with them. You know what I mean? So yeah,
it's so crazy that he was just like sucking up the pain and just like writhing with anger. It was just the craziest thing I've ever seen. Yeah.
So how do you think him versus Chandler is going to go?
Oh man, this could go so many different directions. Honestly, I'm having a hard time with it because obviously I've interviewed Chandler, so there's a bit of bias that goes in there because he's been really good to us.
Yeah.
But I also can see Conor, just his style being perfect for it. You can see the antithesis of each other's styles pretty much just clashing in this one. It's like the takedowns and power punching of Michael Chandler can give Conor a bunch of problems, but they're really straight shots. And I mean, he has to be energy saving because of what we've seen in some of, particularly against Nate Diaz and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But just the shots that are straight down the pipe could just absolutely starch Chandler. So I think there's part of me that is leaning maybe towards Conor to finally make a comeback, but I can see Chandler doing it. I'm really, really back and forth on that one.
Yeah. But it's what I think is if Conor keeps trying to do what he's been doing recently, where he's moving forward, he's got that wide stance, you know what I mean? He's standing more like a karate style, so he can throw these kicks, you know what I mean? Or it's not straight on like boxing, you know what I mean? He has that kind of like sideways stance a little bit. It's obviously more adapted for MMA. But I feel like he's a counter striker. He's not a move forward and a pressure fighter. You know what I mean? So I feel like, especially with Chandler, if someone is going to come at you and he's going to throw bombs and he's going to be aggressive straight off the bat, he's there to entertain and everybody knows it. You know what I mean? So I feel like Conor needs to be the Jose Aldo Conor. He needs to be like, let this motherfucker overreach, let him step in and then buffed and just try and catch him with what he can. You know what I mean? I feel like if he comes out too angry, like he's got a point to prove, it's not really going to go down well for him, to be honest. I've just had a notification saying there's 10 minutes left, dude. So we'll just keep on top of that, just so we don't get cut off there. But go on, sorry, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say even like the Chad Mendes Conor. Obviously, he got taken down there a couple times, but his ACL was messed up, and obviously Chad Mendes was coming off of just 2 weeks' notice there. But either way, like he had this really, really heavy game plan to punish the wrestler, go for the gut, kick the body a lot, and really sap the guy's energy. And knowing that both men tend to gas, it could be a battle of who gasses first.
Yeah.
And if he can go after the body a whole lot and keep that, that kind of like old karate stance he used to do, it might be a lot better for him.
Yeah. But have you ever trained any MMA yourself or any martial arts?
Nope. When I was like, what was it, like 5 or 6 years old, I used to have a VHS of the Green Ranger doing the Green Ranger kata.
Yes, right.
That was pretty epic.
Yeah,
but no, I have more of an interest in the sport just because I enjoy it. It's kind of like, people enjoy video games and they don't necessarily want to become a game dev.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So yeah, I've just never had an interest in it. I don't blame
you, man. I don't blame you. Like, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is fucking brutal. So I started that a few years ago. Who wants to get smushed by a dude that weighs 40 pounds or more than you? And you know what I mean, he's sweaty tits rubbing against your face. And oh man, like I don't blame you. 100% don't blame you. But it is
man, I just like the sport. Yeah. Simple as that. I just love the sport. Yeah.
That is awesome, man. And again, in more aspects than one, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of opportunities that you've gotten in life through this, and it isn't even, you know what I mean? That's not something that somebody would have thought about. It kind of, like you say, on gaming, goes back to 10, 15, 20 years ago. Get off them games, you'll never make money playing them games. That's what my mum used to always say to me when I'd sit and play my PlayStation, or my nana, whoever, you know what I mean? You're going to need to get a job, you can't be sitting playing them because you'll never make any money. Now I'm sitting there going, I've almost made $50 on Twitch. Get it up, yeah. So the world has definitely changed, man. So what does a day in the life look like for Jason whilst you're at work? So did you work from home, or you got an office-based place, or?
So I live about 10 minutes from the office. Right now I'm at my apartment. But usually I get in there. I start to work on some social media stuff, a bit of day planning. Usually around 11 or so, we have a meeting with the whole team that's there. There's 5 of us in the office. We meet for a bit, and then from there, it kind of tends to move on to whatever big creative project. So like I was saying, today's video, Luke, one of our editors, is already working on that, and then I'll jump in, see where we can get with that to get that through, work on the thumbnail for the video, which takes a surprising amount of time, sometimes as long as an hour or so to create that. A lot of creative energy goes into that. Then hopefully I'll have some time to do a bit of writing on the steroids piece I was mentioning. There will be a bit of, we'll have a live stream. So we've launched a members only program for our channel now that people can join and subscribe to. And so we'll do a special members only live stream today, probably around 5 is what we're looking at. So we'll prep some topics for that and get all that going. And then I'll probably stay till about 7 or so, just so I can get through a little bit more of the steroid thing. Because working as a manager, it's like I'm dividing little chunks of my day to be able to work on it. And then I'll go to the gym, do about a 45-minute cardio workout, come back home, shower, and then, I'll get started over for the next day again.
Nice, man, nice. I think I told you before, I'm a manager myself, obviously, within retail. So I can understand that wholeheartedly of you've got whatever on your pad that you want to get done. Everybody else is doing their bit, but then they're coming to you and going, what about this and what about that? And it just, the time that it takes away and you don't really realize it, you know what I mean? Then you get back and
my God.
Oh shit, I still need to get this and this done, and I've only got 45 minutes left till the end of the day. And like one thing that I spoke to you about recently with myself is just trying to be like as productive as I can. Obviously I've got a kid now, and I've recently dropped some days. Well, I dropped one day at work, dropped 9 hours. So I just do 3 10-hour days. But then I'm like, right, how do I stop myself from becoming lazy? Like, what do I need to do? So again, like the podcast has started to help with that. It's keeping me busy outside of work, keeping me active. You know what I mean? So I don't become that lazy-minded kind of thing. Because it's tough. Like, it is 100% tough to manage everything all at once. Like you say, even for you at the end of the day, you could be like, fuck man, I can't be asked for that workout. I really can't be bothered going to the gym. But the main thing is you just get it done. You know what I mean? That's the one thing. Just get up and go, get it done. Like I say, this call is coming to an end. I think we've got about 3 minutes left. So I just want to say thank you very much before the recording cuts out for joining me today, Jason. Honestly, super appreciate it, man. Super happy I got to meet you in London. You're an awesome dude, and we're definitely going to do this again. If you're up for it, give us a shout out to all your socials, where everyone can find you, not just you, but MMA and everything on point too. So, of course, Jason the Heart on any platform you can find me, and MMA on point. So appreciate it, man. It's been fun chatting. Really enjoyed, dude. Awesome. All right, cheers, bro. Take it easy. Have a good day.
All right, brother. See you later.